One autumn evening in the small Italian city of Turin, a conflict that had been brewing for a long time finally erupted in the family of Marco Ricci. Marco was 39 years old, worked as an engineer, and by the time he married Laura Bianchi, he had been living independently for many years. Long before he even met his future wife, he had bought an apartment in an old part of the city, investing all his savings and several years of his life into it. As a matter of principle, Marco never took money from his parents, neither his own nor anyone else's. He believed that financial independence spared people from reproaches and unnecessary conversations. Laura was 34 at the time of their wedding. She earned a good living in the design field and, after they got married, unexpectedly suggested a complete renovation of the apartment. Marco reacted cautiously to the idea. He did not want his wife to invest her money in a property that legally belonged to him, and more than once he openly said that the renovation could be postponed or done more modestly. But for Laura, it was important to feel that this was not just her husband's apartment, but a shared space into which she had also invested her effort and resources. In the end, Marco gave in, deciding that trust in a marriage mattered more than formalities. The renovation lasted almost a year. They replaced the wiring and plumbing, ordered new furniture, argued over wall colors, and made up in the kitchen over a glass of wine. When everything was finally finished, the couple decided to throw a housewarming party and invited friends, colleagues, and, of course, Laura's parents, Francesco and Anna Bianchi, who arrived from a suburb of Milan. At first, the evening went smoothly, but everything changed when one of the guests casually mentioned that part of the renovation had been paid for using Laura's personal savings. Her parents immediately grew tense. Anna turned pale, and Francesco frowned and fell silent. A few minutes later, when the guests had dispersed into different rooms, Laura's mother could no longer hold back and loudly asked how it was possible that her daughter had invested money in an apartment that did not formally belong to her. Anna spoke sharply, not holding back her words. She insisted that nothing in life was guaranteed, that marriages fall apart, and that women are often left with nothing. Francesco supported his wife, walking through the apartment and loudly estimating how many years of pension money would be needed to afford such furniture, tiles, and appliances. He complained about the expensive sofa, comparing it to the old but still perfectly usable one they had at home, and lamented that modern people no longer knew how to live frugally. Marco tried to explain that he had never intended to take advantage of Laura, that they were building a family and planning to have children, and that despite the paperwork, this apartment was their shared home. He spoke calmly, but with every passing minute, he felt increasingly humiliated. When Anna angrily declared that he had simply taken advantage of her daughter's naivety and acted dishonestly, Marco finally lost his patience. Hearing such accusations was especially painful because he had originally tried to dissuade his wife from investing her savings. He did not consider himself guilty and had no intention of justifying himself to people who, in his view, had crossed a line. That evening, firmly but without raising his voice, Marco told Laura's parents that he did not want to see them in his home if they continued to treat him with such distrust and disrespect. To everyone's surprise, Laura fully supported her husband. She reminded her parents that she was an adult, capable of making her own decisions, and that she did not need constant advice or control. She said the money had been her conscious choice and that there was no place for suspicion or humiliation in their family. Anna merely waved her hand, and Francesco silently gathered his things. Soon, the parents left, leaving behind a heavy silence. That evening became a turning point. Marco spent a long time wondering whether he had been too harsh, but deep down he knew there had been no other way to protect his family and his boundaries. Sometimes, respect for parents does not mean blind obedience, but an honest and firm no, spoken at the right moment.